Let's unhaul some books. Hello, my lovelies. It has been a long time since I have shown you guys an unhaul. However, I do have my Pango Books link in my links down below where you guys can buy all of these books that I'm unhauling. And yeah, so this is a bit of a stack, and I realized I had been going around my house collecting some books that I no longer wanted anymore, that I thought I probably am not going to read and just really need to get rid of, or some books I didn't think I was going to reread, just things like that. And I came up with quite the stack, so I figured I'd share it with you guys. Coming straight off of my March wrap up, I'm sorry, Andrew, I'm sorry. I'm going to unhaul Priest of Lies. So I had been talking about buying this whole series. I had been talking about the fact that I accidentally sold my first book of this series. And maybe it wasn't quite an accident. I really enjoy this series. However, when this series is over, there's no way I'm rereading it. And I say that because this is a slower paced, Peaky Blinders-esque kind of story, and once it's over, I will have enjoyed it, but I don't think it's anything I'm gonna want to return to. I have that issue with slow-paced books. Like, once I've read them, I've read them. I don't want to read them again. When I reread, I want it to be a fast-paced, fun book, or I want it to be something that I can sink my teeth into, and this just isn't it for rereadability. Next, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. You guys had to have seen this coming. I have kept my hardcover copies of Mistborn. They still grace my shelves. They're still over there. I've not gotten rid of them, but I have purged myself of all other Sanderson. I do have some audios left of Sanderson that I need to get to, but this book kind of proved that I don't like Sanderson's writing. I just don't, and I need to face facts and move on with my life. But this was a standard YA romance. Not really anything wrong with it. Not great. Not bad either. If you like YA romance, I definitely recommend Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. It might give you something a little extra in the end, but just not the book for me. Okay, now some of these are going to be ones I haven't even read yet, but I kind of had this realization, and this is something that I do that's a bad book buying habit that I want to stop doing, and that I'm trying to stop myself from doing. I have a whole stack of books that are over here that I'm keeping that I want to try and get to, but one thing I have a tendency to do is, it's $1, why not? So when you go to the bookstore that I go to the buy sell trade that I go to, your trade credit can be used for anything. And when you can use trade credit, the books don't cost money, right? Girl math. And so a lot of these have fallen into, it was $1, so I bought it. And now I'm not really sure why I bought it. And we'll get there. So one of them being The Cousins by Karen M. McManus. I know I'm sitting over here breaking my friend Tessa's heart left and right because I just got rid of Gilded Cage and now I'm getting rid of The Cousins. But I have tried reading this multiple times and I just can't get into it. And so I'm gonna let this one go. I know Tessa loves it, but I'm just gonna say bye. And I don't think YA mysteries are for me. I really loved The Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which caused me to try more, but I've read like Sadie and things like that. I've read The Project by Courtney Summers. I've tried reading this, and I didn't like them nearly as much as A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So I don't really think, I think it was the writing style of Holly Jackson that got me, and not necessarily this genre. Whew, okay, I'm sorry if I start to get a little shiny or if my hair starts to flatten out. I'm getting hot. Next we have Void Star by Zachary Mason. Now, I kind of still want to read this. It says vivid, tumultuous, and propulsive. Void Star is Zachary Mason's mind-bending follow-up to his stellar debut, The Lost Books of the Odyssey. So I still don't know if that means that this is a book 2, because nowhere does it say book 2. It just says follow-up. So I don't know. If it's supposed to be a follow-up, it should tell me. If it's supposed to be a book 2, it should tell me. But it doesn't. It just says also by Zachary Mason. So I'm gonna get rid of this because I haven't found the first book anywhere, and it's been a long time since I bought this. It does sound very good, but since I can't find the first book, I don't know if I should read this one. Okay, and then a series that I picked up at the buy sell trade. These are books 1 and 2, I believe. They're called Aspect of the Crow, Eyes of the Crow, or Eyes of Crow, Voice of Crow. I've heard these have very lyrical prose, and that is why I bought them. But since buying them, my love for them has dwindled. My love for the covers has dwindled a bit, and then my brain just doesn't want to wrap around the story anymore, and I don't know. It says, Faria was bound to the spirit of Crow, gifted with the foresight of death's approach and doomed to the isolation of one feared and set apart. There must always be one whose magic can ease the passage of the people of Asarmos to the other side. Okay, so this is it. This is why. I just read a book with this premise and I liked it, but I didn't love it. And so that's why this one is kind of just ringing as a not for me anymore. We'll get to that because obviously that's going to be in my April wrap up and my current vlog. So yeah, this one just doesn't call to me anymore. So in my mind, I sometimes get it in my head that I'm going to reread a series, even though that series hasn't called to me in a long time. And so Michael Livingston's The Gates of Hell, Shards of Heaven, Realms of God, Gates of Hell. I only own the 3rd book, and I was going to go ahead and purchase the other 2, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I liked the Shards of Heaven. I didn't love it. I did want to see, like, upon reread, would it be better? The Shards of Heaven, Realms of God, and the Gates of Hell. I just don't see myself reading this again now that I've bought the 3rd book. So it's one of those things that sounds good in the moment. And then you get home and it's like, why did I do that? I bought the 3rd book in a series that I'm not even really sure that I actually do want to reread. Here's where I have to admit, this book has been on my shelf for years and I haven't even thought about it until I just see the spine of it on my shelves. And that is Mr. Shivers by Robert Jackson Bennett. Yeah, I know, I've had this for years and it just sits there going, hey, look, I'm sitting in your horror section and you should read me. Or not, because I always glance over it. I know it's there. I think about putting it on lists and then I don't. And I think it's just because it's Robert Jackson Bennett. The actual story doesn't sound all that appealing to me. You know what makes me sad though? There's a Borders sticker on the back of this. So yeah, I've had this for a while. I think actually I got this at the buy sell trade, but still a few years. It's been on there for a few years. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it. One that I tried reading and then quickly DNF'd. And it wasn't because I wasn't liking the story or anything like that. It was just, I didn't connect. Nothing about the story made me connect. I had this problem with a book recently. Oh, everyone's been talking about Inkblood Sister Scribe, something like that. But Portrait of a Thief by Grace D. Lee. Now, yes, I was trying to read this while we were traveling, but I don't have a problem listening to audiobooks while I travel. So I just think that this one is not the book for me. And it leans into the whole thing I don't like about dark academia, where everyone is a horrible person, or they're snooty, I guess I should say. And so I didn't care for it. And I haven't gotten very far in it. Like I said, I've tried reading this a couple of times and it just didn't click for me. One that I'm a little sad to get rid of, and this would be at KK, by Vaishnavi Patel. I liked this. I really did like this. Of the retellings I have though, this is the least likely one to be reread. And I have a bunch of Norse ones. I have a bunch of Greek ones. I love Norse mythology. I love Greek mythology. This one, however, is not something I find myself going back to. It was slow in places. There was a little bit of a disconnect with me and the main character. And there are things I really enjoyed reading about in this book that I don't think is at the forefront of other books like motherhood and stuff like that. But I'm just not going to reread this one. Okay, now this one is, I don't know. Am I actually going to get rid of this one or am I going to hold on to it? I debate this every single time I think about Unhauling, and that is Poster Girl by Veronica Roth. I want to keep it because I really like the cover and I really like the sprayed edges here, but I do like Veronica Roth. I can admit that as well. I've loved her short stories in the Forward collection and the other collection by Amazon. but I've not heard anything good about this. And in fact, I don't even know anyone who's read it. So that's part of the reason, though, that I want to, because nobody else I know has actually read it, and see if I like it. I might hold on to this one, guys. Don't count this one in the unhaul. I might just keep it. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, and then I've kind of been on a purge of my historical fiction that I don't think is going to work for me anymore. I used to read a lot of like Regency, I keep wanting to say fan fiction, historical fiction, and I used to read a lot of like Elizabethan, anyway, whatever. I used to read a lot of that, and I don't anymore, and I prefer like Egyptian and stuff like that. I prefer anything that's not this. Madame Tussaud, French Revolution. I don't think I care. I'm not gonna read it. I'm not gonna read it. I have a whole lot of Michelle Moran to read. I have Nefertiti. I have The Rebel Queen. I have Cleopatra's Daughter. This is not gonna happen. It's just not. I really want to read Michelle Moran, and this is not the way I'm gonna do it. So I'm just gonna unhaul it. All right, that is it for my video today. Like, subscribe, do all the fun things, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye.